something to say, and she can just, off the top, I'm sure there's, you know, a bit of thought behind it, but she has.
I mean, basically we started off with quite a broad canvas in that there's no sound in space, and that threw out a lot of the ideas about what conventional film music could be. You know, that wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to be something where you'd have a lot of clattering percussion in an action sequence, because you weren't competing with a lot of loud explosions and all that sort of thing. So it became a big, wide-open question of what the music could be. And
Break, you have to break!
Can't! We're gonna hit hard!
What do I do?
Grab a hold! Grab anything!
And as they head in towards the camera, these rising tones start. There's guitars in here and all sorts of rising patterns that all build up around you. And then as they actually head into it, these string lines would move in different directions. So that note falls away in the space of the theatre as well as tonally. It can be answered with this incoming sign as another voice comes towards you.
We're gonna hit hard! Grab a hold of anything you can!
so everything needed to feel like it was constantly flowing and moving around. And the way that I found through all the experiments to get this was to have sounds kind of morphing. You know, sometimes I'd start off with a theme being played on a cello, but that might morph into something being played on almost like on radio waves, like a radio tuning would carry off the melody. And this kind of seamless thing that would constantly move around and sometimes take the point of view of a character, sometimes move around if you're being more subjective and watching something going past. Everything on screen basically affected the way the music was written, and this layering allowed us to kind of get the movement right and make it feel like you were up there. My job in the film was really to take you along this journey with Ryan. And so initially I remember just spending a lot of time with a piano trying to find this combination of notes that felt like they could be used initially in a very desperate way, in a very broken way. The character starts off very much someone who's turned her back on the world and has kind of given up on life, and then could develop as her character develops through these adversities to find her strength. In the end, she makes this decision to live. So I had to write a theme that could go through all this journey with her. It's the first time we really hear what will become her theme, and it's kind of expressed essentially on this solo cello, but it was processed in various ways to get this processing sound to it. And that's layered up with various other melodic sounds, one of which is this radio signal, which is kind of sounds like it would become radio waves and then tune into the melody itself. There's various other atmospheric things that are swimming around at the same time. You can hear here things like these, and all underpinned by this very high up bass playing. I would kind of get a bass guitar and play 3 different passes, all of which would come out from different places. And then as she looks to the earth, the full orchestra comes in. Oh, everything in this film came from Sandra's performance. You know, that it was such an incredible achievement of hers to often all you're seeing is her face, you know, and the body might be a CG creation, and yet somehow through the eyes, you know, you're seeing through a visor, everything is there. So my job was really to be with her all the time, and kind of whenever I was having a tricky day, all I needed to do was look at her performance. It would always show me the way forward and what emotionally the film was going to need. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky on this one, and I was brought in quite early. I mean, often film composers are the last people onto the film, and you know, a lot of stuff has gone on before. But with this, I was on for the last full year of production, so they'd already been doing it for years because this project has been extensively long. But I came on for the last year, and that was the first time they'd really started looking at introducing music into this world. And so I got to evolve my ideas at the same time as the sound department were evolving theirs. The picture was still changing, visual effects were still developing. So the whole thing evolved together. You know, as you can see, it was all done in a very small place, and it was all very homemade, and a lot of the instruments were kind of me scraping away on things and trying to make these sounds. So the idea that even going to the Oscars and yeah, sitting there having done all this with all those people in that room, it's going to be an amazing experience.